All right, my friends, welcome back to Salt City Counseling. Once again, my name is Scott Carter, and I'm a licensed therapist. And I got a beautiful snowy day in front of me. I love the snow; it's beautiful. I haven't recorded for a while. I haven't posted a video for a while. Frankly, my health hasn't been very good, and I think I solved the issue. I think I got to the bottom of one of the biggest problems I was having, and it was just drinking way too much caffeine. When I stopped drinking caffeine, I had caffeine withdrawals, and quite frankly, it kicked my ass. It was rough. I'm not gonna lie. It surprised me how rough it was. I'm largely through it now, for the most part. But I don't know, just something to think about, man. Like you start drinking a lot of coffee and it just kind of works against you, which is too bad, man. I love coffee, but anyway, so I'm starting to feel better. So here I am back. I want to close up my series on depression. I had a couple more topics in mind, and this is the first of what I believe will probably be the last two. We'll see. We'll see what happens. And I want to get into this because I kind of want to move into some other content and some other videos and stuff. And so let's get into this. Okay, this is to me a big reason or a big cause of depression. Uh, to me, our lifestyle, our current way of living and being and functioning is one that causes significant depression. And depression, as I've talked about in other videos, to me, it's really about being stuck. Kind of just being stuck and doing the same thing. Depression is also about lacking meaningful connections in our lives. I talk about this in other videos. If you haven't seen them, go back and watch it. I also believe that we are largely depressed, or that we're seeing this kind of epidemic of depression in Western culture because we just, yeah, we like our lives are just not high quality. And materialism, if you ask me, it's failed us miserably, right? Technology, I thought was supposed to make us happy. It's not. It's kind of failed us miserably. So, in this video, though, I'm going to talk about what I really truly believe to be a huge contributing factor to depression, and why so many people are so depressed, and why depression is just so widespread and so pervasive. And it's simply just that we are struggling to live authentically, or we are struggling to live true to ourselves. This is a huge source of depression. Like, let me explain what I mean here. Like, I have noticed that we live in a culture of conformity. And I heard a really fascinating quote recently, and it's given me a lot to think about, a lot to pull open, and a lot to dissect. I'm always doing my own work, man. I really am. I'm always working on myself. I'm always trying to improve myself. I think it's important as a therapist to just do that, to like be dialed into your own growth and your own personal improvement. Anyways, um, the quote goes like this. Okay, the opposite of courage isn't fear; it's conformity. And we live in a culture of conformity. And I'm going to give a couple examples here. I see a lot of young people, for example, they're getting so much external pressure to basically follow a one size fits all life path. Like, it's interesting to see young people and kids who are graduating high school, how morbidly afraid that they are to even take a gap year between high school and college. They were really being corralled into college. And it's just like this one size fits all. Even though college, right, doesn't really offer a plethora of programs that are going to increase or improve your earning power. Colleges, excuse me, offer a whole bunch of programs and degrees that are not going to improve your earning power whatsoever. I think it's wrong of them to do that. I think it's wrong for colleges to offer you a degree in something that is not going to give you a better job or better job prospects. I think it's criminal. It's wrong. It's wrong to do that. And what I see too is that young people are also under the external pressure from their parents. Like, parents are just demanding that their kids go to college. And to go to college, just to go to college, even if they don't know what they're going to do. The story's always the same, by the way. Go to your first couple of years, get your generals out of the way, and by then you'll know what you want to do. And that's not always true. And here's why: is that a lot of these young people, they get really super duper busy living somebody else's life. And if they go into college on a path where they've been living somebody else's life, specifically the life that like, for example, that their parents want them to live, they're not going to figure out what they want to do because they're not even there in the first place for themselves. They're there for somebody else, right? And if they're there for somebody else, they're far less likely to stumble upon a career path that really resonates with them or that they really connect with or something that really speaks to them. And truth of the matter is, we're looking at a society and a culture that really doesn't support that individuality. Like, find what makes you tick. Find yourself. No, it's a culture of conformity. It's a culture of obey and fall in line and do what you're supposed to and say the right things and do the right things and for heaven's sake, don't you dare think the wrong things or have a negative thought or have an uncomfortable emotion. Oh, you're sad? I can't believe you're sad. What's wrong with you? Here, take some pills. When sadness, for example, is a normal part of life, it just really, really is. And so what I find is that a lot of young people, especially the younger generations, right? They are terrified, almost scared to death, almost beyond scared to be themselves, to truly be themselves, and to live their own life and to find what makes them tick. And what I find is, like, even just today, I was talking to someone who is really trying to take steps to live their life true to themselves. And what's interesting is the enormous resistance that you will get these days. Like, if you're a young adult and you're like, you know what, I want to take a gap year. Holy crap, like, end of the world. Freak out, a gap year. Oh, you want to skip a year before you go into college? Holy crap. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you want to spend a summer in Europe or like doing humanitarian aid in Africa or South America or something like that before you go to college, you totally should. You totally should. It'll help you find yourself. But it's like this strict conformity, and I see people that they're so afraid to step out of line. They're terrified. It's incredible when you think about it. By the way, how much we compromise when it comes to fear. How much we let fear compromise who we are, and we're just afraid to be ourselves. And so what I'm seeing is so many people, they're not living their life. They're living somebody else's life, and they've been doing it for so long. They've been living somebody else's life for so long, they don't even know who they are anymore. They don't even have a sense of who they are, right? And a quote that I like, and I'm going to botch it up, but it essentially goes like this: Who were you before you were told who to be, right? And we live in this culture of conformity, and it kind of goes beyond this, by the way. Like there are very, very strong social narratives, right? There's a lot of banning, there's a lot of canceling, there's a lot of this and that and the other, and it's just, we've all been guilty of wrongthink, right? We've all been guilty of thought crimes, and people are fiercely protecting their echo chambers and their groupthink, and it demands conformity. It just does. When you're in an echo chamber, conformity, that's it, right? And the opposite of conformity is courage, right? To speak up and say, hey, this is wrong. I also think that conformity has become the new, the new standard, right? The new good thing to do, partially because of what happened during COVID. Like, we weren't even allowed to ask questions. We're not even allowed to ask questions. We're not even allowed to question the narrative. We're not even allowed to like have a discussion about it. No, you evil monster. I was talking to a client about this too. Like, so many people, they were just attacked and viciously too. I'm one of them. I'm one of them that received vicious attacks because it was just like, you want to get a haircut? You evil monster. You murderous monster, right? And it was like, whoa, yeah, we need to slow down here, because it's like we need to be able to at least ask questions. But the whole COVID thing really advanced these ideas, or this culture of don't ask questions, just shut up and do what you're told, and that's what makes you good. But then we wonder why we're so severely depressed. We don't have the freedom to be who we are or do what we want to do. We're confined. We're stuck. Like, we've been shoved into boxes physically, mentally, emotionally, and otherwise, right? And the one size fits all plan, if what really speaks to you in life doesn't fall into line for that one size fits all plan, then you're bad and you're evil and you're wrong, and what's wrong with you, and it's just a heavy resistance. And I look forward to the day, because the pendulum always swings, right? Culture always, there's just a in and out of culture, right? One day, we will be encouraged to express our individuality and to pursue our dreams and to pursue our passions and figure out who we are, and that our parents one day will support us cultivating an identity a unique identity. And parents don't do that anymore. Parents want obedience. Be obedient. And I realize that a lot of parents, they just fall into doing this so frequently and so often. They're just going along with what everybody else is doing, right? Honestly, most people are just following followers, right? But we're depressed because we're unable to be authentically true to ourselves. That's depressing. It always has been, and it always will be, right? And so those of you, right, if you're watching this, and maybe this resonates with you, and you feel like you haven't been able to be your own person, or express your true self, or just be true to your own core human being of who you are, right? Without significant pressure or resistance to, to shut up and do what you're told and to conform. We really do, man. We live in the new intellectual dark ages. Conformity is the norm. And what can I say, man? I'm classic counterculture guy. I've always been a black sheep. It's just, it's who I am, man. It's in my DNA. I can't help it. I really can. And yeah, it's rough sometimes, but I wouldn't do it. I would do exactly the same if I had to do it again. So there you are, right? We are truly, and I mean truly, deeply depressed because we are unable to be deeply authentic and true to ourselves. Okay, thanks for watching. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.